Hello everyone, welcome to the LTM show. We're your hosts Daniel and Alex, and welcome to a epic podcast, because even though the racing this weekend wasn't epic, the result was. Australia back on top, we heard the anthem, life is good.
It is good, Daniel. Another show, another week. Thanks for having me once again. Yeah, it was a bit of a snooze fest. Actually, it was funny, there's more action after the race than during the race, by the sounds of it. Yeah, a bit of an interesting day after the Grand Prix, actually. So I'm kind of glad we didn't record this yesterday, because, well, the results just would have been completely different.
Yeah, well, the rumour mill's already out and running straight away, straight off the bat, hours after the race. No, they didn't take long. We'll get into that as well. But first, the big one is both Ferraris, you might as well take the hat off now, has been disqualified from the Chinese Grand Prix, as well as Pierre Gasly. What a shame for Ferrari after a decent, solid finish in the points. Now they've lost a good chunk of them. But on the bright side, we've got a double Williams points finish. I'm okay with that.
And a double Haas. Double Haas as well. I'm keeping the hat on because people would have heard our last pod that I couldn't afford this hat. Well, not couldn't afford it. I didn't want to spend the money on it. But I've got a cheaper one. I found a $60 version, which is the exact same thing I just got on sale after the Grand Prix. Anyway, leaving it on because I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it, so I'm leaving it on.
Well, in saying that, though, he did have a good weekend, besides from being disqualified.
Well,
because
yeah,
of a very small thing, by the way.
Still.
But still, what a weekend for Lewis. A pole, a sprint pole, and also a sprint win.
So this is how I would describe the weekend for Ferrari fans, right? Obviously, visuals are going to see this, not people listening. So this was a good Saturday, right? And then this was Sunday. Just don't look. Just don't watch. Crazy
honestly
how
thought
one...
you were Yuki Tsunoda for a minute there. Not gonna lie.
That's yeah, good call. But it was so interesting, the sprint. I want to chat later about the whole sprint thing format, but I really enjoyed this weekend's action because of the sprint. Obviously, we got to see Lewis Hamilton claim a pole position and a win. Yes, it was a sprint. But then the day after, the pace was completely switched. Actually, not even the day after. It was like a couple hours after, during qualifying.
Hey.
So,
like they had no power, like you said.
It was literally weird. Lando flipped a switch the correct way, and then both Ferraris went backwards. George Russell even was up there. He almost got pole for the Grand Prix. He only missed out by less than 2/10.
Yeah, it was nothing.
Yeah, it was... Sorry, less than a tenth. Sorry, not even 2/10. And yeah, the pace was just completely reversed for Ferrari. It was weird. Look, Lewis did say after the sprint qualifying that he was a bit shocked. And then he had the pace to drive away from the Red Bulls. Tyre wear was also a very big issue this weekend. The softs didn't even get touched in the race. Yeah, it was an interesting weekend in that sense because, the soft tyre was pretty useless for more than a lap. And then mediums didn't last too long either if you ask the RB boys. And then hard tyre was the go-to. So, interesting race, but obviously Oscar Piastri prevailed. He didn't see a single person, didn't he?
I did tell you, if you got a good start, he'll be hard to beat, and that's exactly what happened. Lando, he got lucky to finish second after that brake issue he had. If it was probably another lap, Russell would have got him. Also, it's McLaren's 50th 1-2, I believe.
There you go.
Which is an amazing achievement. So
look, I have a papaya drink.
Me too.
There you go. What are the? We didn't plan that, I swear.
You missed it.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
too many Top Gear references. Anyway, let's
There will be a reference now.
I think we should just go through the results.
Might as well.
We'll go through the sprint. Why not? Just the points finishing.
I've got to say the sprint was rather exciting though with the mid-pack battles. We saw some pretty decent driving from a couple drivers. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, the sprint offered a bit of a tease for the Grand Prix because the Grand Prix, like you said, the mid-pack battle was through the roof. Up the front was a bit boring, and Lewis won the sprint. He won by just under 7 seconds ahead of Piastri, who was pretty much the only person to do an overtake during the whole race in the points. He passed Verstappen to get that second place.
By the way.
Oh, here we go.
Max points for my predictions.
Yep, you got all 3 correct.
All 3 correct. That never happens.
No,
until now. So I just want to thank my family.
Yeah.
I just want to thank my Canva for writing that down. As you were.
What a touching speech. So
they're going to teach generations this.
Meanwhile, on the other side, I got 0 points. I got them all completely wrong. Not a good day for me. Literally, I only got points so we have four predictions basically. Maximum of 12 points. I only got points in the Grand Prix. That's how bad I did. I got sprint quali, sprint race, qualifying completely wrong. We'll go through those later in the show. But yeah, Oscar Piastri finished ahead of Verstappen, who was 3rd. Russell had a very lonely 4th place. He also had a very lonely 3rd place in the Grand Prix.
And in Australia as well.
Yeah, he's just consistently boring, apparently. Or bored, I should say, not boring. Daniel's doing the famous intro for him with the arms out.
Yeah.
Charles Leclerc was 5th. We'll talk about him a bit later on for the Grand Prix. Tsunoda was 6th. The one time that RB gets points is because there was no pit stops involved. They've become the new Ferrari of the F1. And then Kimi Antonelli was also very impressive this week. He came 7th. And then last points finisher for sprint was Lando Norris, who bottled the first lap. He started 5th, I think, and then dropped to 9th at one point. And then clawed his way back up to 8th. That's the points finishing for the sprint. If we just go to the Grand Prix, we will see Mr. Oscar Piastri was the victor, obviously. Didn't see
overall, what a weekend. He did first pole position for him too. In normal qualifying, which was really, really cool. He's always gotten so close. Yeah, he's gotten so close each time. Last week we saw him only just miss out by Lando. This time it's him. It's like a redemption weekend for him after what happened in Australia. So happy days.
Yeah, absolutely. So he finished ahead of Norris, who it says a 9.7 gap, but realistically it was only about a 2-second gap because for the last 2 or 3 laps, Lando almost didn't finish the race. If you didn't watch the Grand Prix, you would have seen... So if you did watch the Grand Prix, you would have seen him have to back off really, really hard, I guess. Back off a lot to allow himself to finish the race. Because I reckon if he had one more lap, he wouldn't have finished the race. Or be potentially off the podium completely. Because Russell only finished 2 seconds behind him, and then Max was only 5 seconds behind him. So yeah,
he got really lucky.
Very lucky. While you yawn, I'll continue. Russell was 3rd, 4th was Verstappen.
Apologies for anyone watching. If you had to vomit, I understand, as you were.
What?
They would have had to watch. They would have had to see my face do that.
Oh, that's fine. I yawn all the time. Now, this is where you were meant to see the Ferraris finish. Sorry, they were meant to be 4th. They were meant to be 4th and 6th across the line. Now, Esteban Ocon takes the 5th place for Haas. Credit where credit's due. Haas were quick this week.
They were pretty decent, especially
only in the race.
Behrman, with all his overtakes and dive bombs he did.
We'll get to him.
Yes, you will see, Francesco, but not like this. You will see him like this as he drives away from you.
That's cute. So you had one of those made up for all the racers?
No.
I wanna talk about him. That was really impressive. Kimi Antonelli was 6th. Alex Albon, who led the race for a little bit.
Kimi also got driver of the day for some reason.
We have no idea why. He didn't make up a single place. Well, now he did, but...
It should have been Ollie, but... Oh, well.
Yeah. Alex Albon was 7th. Speaking of Ollie, he was in 8th position. He was everyone else's driver of the day. I don't know how 20% of votes got Antonelli, but Ollie Behrman started 17th.
It's pretty crazy. 17th. Pretty unreal drive. And it's also a redemption weekend for him after Australia as well. He had an abysmal weekend that time. This time around, he's had a much... Actually, everyone has had a better result. Even Liam Lawson. And even Carlos in 10th. But we forgot about Stroll, but everyone does anyway.
I wouldn't add Liam Lawson to the list.
Well, he finished the race.
He did. Anyway, we'll talk about him in a minute. Lance Stroll, who didn't pit for about a year. I think he pitted on lap like 33 or something. He did more than half the race on one stint. He finished 9th. Carlos Sainz 10th. Obviously, these are guys who shouldn't have made it in the points, Stroll and Sainz, but they got promoted. Isaac Hadjar, who had the pace to honestly probably finish like 5th.
He did really well this weekend, but he just couldn't get past Jack Doohan.
No, but besides the point, RB screwed their strategy up big time. He should never have even been behind Jack Doohan. No.
And the qualifying and sprint, they were super strong. So, like you said, with Ferrari, they went backwards with them. So,
well, technically, Isaac Hadjar did finish behind Jack Doohan, but Jack Doohan, who finished 13th, had a 10-second penalty for actually impeding Isaac Hadjar. And he drove him off the track. And then Liam Lawson got promoted to 12th.
Yeah, he has 4 incident points now, Jack Doohan. He's only round 2.
What's the
12.
12.
12 is the max.
We should ask Kevin Magnussen.
And we know that because Kevin Magnussen, yeah. But I want to talk about Lawson in a minute. But Jack Doohan, real quick. Even though, the result isn't amazing, some of the defending he did this weekend, I really enjoyed watching. I was worried, like Abu Dhabi last year, I said he needs to grab the car by the balls a bit more and race. But this, hey?
I kind of found it a bit borderline. He
did a lot better than he has been, though.
Yeah, but he also got a penalty for half of those.
Yeah, I'll ignore that fact.
Yeah.
But
he was desperately defending, let's just call it that.
The main thing is he went for it. He actually, instead of, just, I don't want to worry about those points. Yeah, you give me those points.
Which he didn't get.
There you go. Yeah.
Speaking of didn't get points, both Saubers, Bortoleto and Hülkenberg had ones to forget. Bortoleto actually had a spin on lap 2 or 3, all by himself, which forced him really far down the order. These boys finished a lap behind the leaders. And Hülkenberg also had a disaster race, bad strategy, high tyre wear. And then Yuki Tsunoda was the final finisher. He had a front wing failure.
That was the weirdest thing I have ever seen in my life. Like,
it was
just, he was minding his own business, and next minute, pop.
The right front end plate just broke.
That was
really odd, really, really odd. He has no idea how that happened. The team have no idea how that happened. Just bad luck, I guess. But luckily, he wasn't fighting for anything too important. If he was in the points and that happened, he would have been even more annoyed.
Hey, it could have been worse, though. He could have maybe got a puncture from it if it ended up breaking off at any point. So at least he was able to come in and get it sorted.
Could have ended...
Still not ideal.
Could have ended in disaster, for sure. Speaking of disaster, Fernando Alonso only did 4 laps. He had a brake failure on lap 4, forcing him into retirement. And then the 3 disqualified drivers, Leclerc, Hamilton, and Gasly, all were underweight. And that's the reason
except for Lewis. Yeah.
What?
Lewis wasn't underweight. He just had bit of the floorboard was too thin.
Oh, my apologies.
That's it. That's literally it.
Yeah.
The other two though are underweight. But speaking of blessed and not so blessed, Charles Leclerc though he had the whole entire race with only a part of his wing. After having a little crash with Lewis, who he complained on the radio, someone hit me, and we know, mate.
Yeah,
that's all.
So yeah, he didn't run with the right side end plate in front of the right wheel for the whole race. Didn't impact him at all because he actually requested to pass Hamilton, who was in front of him, and then just drove away from him. So,
he showed some pace considering he had damage.
Credit where credit's due. I'm not sure if that's the reason he actually got disqualified, because he was underweight, but I'm sure it would have impacted it. And then Gasly, just underweight. Flavio would be very proud. Doohan finished ahead of him, so technically, be interesting.
Yeah.
Now,
speaking of Flavio, though.
Yeah, let's talk about pressure. I think that's just what we got to title this segment.
There is a lot of pressure.
There are
because
some drivers feeling the heat.
There is a extremely high chance that Liam Lawson will not be in that Red Bull seat for Japan, which is crazy that we're already talking about this early in the season. I don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing, but it's utter bullshit in my opinion, because the idea... Okay, the rumour is, right, let's talk about the rumours that are floating around. So there's two. So, well, technically they're connected, but Liam Lawson will be replaced at Red Bull with Yuki Tsunoda. They could either swap, so Liam goes down to Racing Bulls, or there has been a rumour in Spain, and Ralph Schumacher has also mentioned this, that Lawson can straight up be fired and Colapinto jumps into that Racing Bull.
Mind blown, man.
On the bright side, if that does happen, then Jack Doohan's probably thanking God right now. Not having to stress anymore about his seat. But, oh my God. What are your thoughts before I go on a rant?
I know what your rant is.
Yes.
And I'm not going to deny you the chance of doing your rant. But I think that this whole situation could have totally been avoided if Red Bull just put Yuki in the car. Like, this guy has been waiting years. Not 1 or 2 years. Probably 3 or 4. Watching person after person, teammate after teammate of his get promoted. And he's been very patiently waiting for all of them to screw up. They all have. And now it's just the biggest screw up. And no offense to Christian Horner, but you messed up. You chose a guy who wasn't ready. He did a Colapinto basically, and he did a Nick de Vries, which Christian Horner screwed up as well. Yeah, have a couple shining moments. Yeah, is better than everyone else. Throw him in. I never said that Liam Lawson was ready. I never agreed with this decision to put Liam Lawson in the car. That's my side of that's the first thing. What you're gonna say, which I know exactly what you're gonna say, and then also the point of, the whole change. This could have totally been avoided by putting a more experienced driver in the car. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, you're sitting down. Of course you are. I am. So, my thoughts, right? I partly agree. I think Yuki should have been given that opportunity, given how he's been in that part of that family for so long now, longer than everyone. Almost Max. Like, he's probably second longest to Max at this point.
Yeah, literally.
And yeah, Yuki had a good opportunity, but right. The car, in my opinion, there's something wrong with it. Okay? Now, you're probably thinking, no, it's not, because it's Red Bull, and it looks fine and it's going fine. Yes, it is. But the thing is, Max has such a unique driving ability, driving technique that they've actually built those both. And Christian Horner said this: they've built both of those cars around Max's driving style, right? And clearly, Liam's driving style does not adapt well to Max's. And because we know what Liam can do, we have seen some things he's done in his time in Formula One. He's had a total of 11 Grand Prix, and he has done some pretty decent driving, even beating Yuki Tsunoda. But to come to both Australia and China, now keep in mind, he hasn't been to those tracks before. So he was a completely fresh rookie compared to the likes of Kimi Antonelli and Bortoletto, who both raced in F2 in Australia, for example. So, but the thing is, Lawson, P20 is not where that car should be. So I'm a bit on the fence if it is more the car or the driver. I reckon a good way to do this is to just swap Liam and Yuki, so Liam still has the Racing Bull seat, and Yuki can have that chance in the Red Bull. And then that will be a fantastic telling point to see if it's the car or the driver. And I think it will also be a cool story to see a Japanese driver race for one of the top teams with a Japanese engine in Japan.
That would be so cool.
That would be really cool.
Look, I agree. I totally agree. I think it'll be a brilliant test to find out if it's driver or car. Obviously, we know that Liam's got the skill to be in F1. That's there. But yeah, I don't disagree with you. Based on the car, I think he's better than. It just looks so. It looks so bad.
It's embarrassing. Like a team as high as this, right? To think they were the ones. They technically are the ones to beat still. Now that, although McLaren has taken over that spot. But they should be the team that everyone looks up to. Now, they've just been having drama after drama, both behind the scenes, obviously, with Horner and his issue and the issues that went down last year, and also just straight up the car. And the amount of driver changes, they've changed drivers more than I've changed my underwear, which is insane. Because I change my underwear every day. I'm not sick.
Okay? Yeah.
The drivers they change their drivers every day too. So there you go. It's basically the McLaren team in IndyCar.
I was about to say that.
We've made that joke so many times last year. It's ridiculous, right? Just you're not going to win the championship if you can't keep a teammate. Like if you can't have the two drivers working together, and they're not even having arguments or anything. They just don't like the Red Bull don't even like their drivers. Don't sign them if you don't want them. Christian Horner's going to race in Japan. It's been confirmed.
Well, the funny part is that usually Red Bull is such a big company. There's so many drivers waiting in behind. If they ditch Liam Lawson, they have no one to replace him with. Besides, if this Colapinto deal happens, right? There's literally no one there. There's no one ready to go.
Who is their reserve driver?
I don't know. While you look that up, it's just a mess. It's a complete mess. And you know what? In a weird, and this is going to sound really cruel, but in a weird way, I'm kind of glad this has happened to Christian Horner Red Bull. But who is it?
It's Yuki Tsunoda.
What?
For the 2025 Formula 1 season, Yuki Tsunoda is the reserve driver for Red Bull Racing, while also continuing as a full-time driver for Racing Bulls.
So who's the Racing Bulls reserve driver?
The other Asian. I forgot his
Iwasu.
name. Yeah, he's very, very smiley.
I think it's Iwasu.
It is.
Yeah.
Ayumi Waza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It does make more sense for Yuki to be in that Red Bull seat now, though. But the thing is, right, I just think it's criminal if they just straight up fire Lawson and end his career just like that. Right? He's still a rookie, man. Put him back into Racing Bulls. Let him cook a bit more.
Can I ask you a question?
Don't worry about Colapinto, because Lawson is better than Colapinto, in my opinion. Yes.
Yeah. Who do you think was Max's best teammate? Not Ricciardo, after Ricciardo. Because Ricciardo left. He didn't get sacked. He quit.
Well, the fact is that Ricciardo was the only one to match Max in terms of teammates on Red Bull. He was the only one who could do that.
Correct.
I'll probably have to say Albon.
Yes, that's my answer.
Maybe. But I got to give credit to Perez in 2021. He was pretty good as being a Bottas in 2021. But Albon, I have to give it to him. He could have gone places with that seat. And I'm still glad he's with Williams now.
Yeah. My beef with the Albon deal was he did nothing wrong to lose that seat. Right? And ever since then, yes, besides the Paris 2021 season, ever since then, and even including before Albon with the Pierre Gasly saga, there's been the drivers just aren't good enough, right? Whereas Albon was, and the reason he got taken out was because Perez somehow won the second to last race in Bahrain.
Yeah,
which was a pure miracle. And that was it. That was all they based it on. They had no intention on signing a different driver. The reason why Alex Albon wasn't successful wasn't because of him. It was because of Lewis Hamilton. He kept taking him out all the time. But you know what I mean? Like, it's Red Bull. It's going to sound really rude, but I'm kind of glad this is happening to them. I'm glad they're in the shitter. I'm glad they're stressed out because they didn't deserve that. This could have all been totally avoided by just
they got
working
embarrassed by their sister team. They got embarrassed by Racing Bulls.
They've got embarrassed by themselves.
Yeah, that too.
Just totally by themselves. No one forced them to do these changes. No one forced you to sign Perez in 2021. No one forced you to change anything in that year. Albon could have still been there. Could have still been, maybe not number one, but maybe number two every year. It just all could have been totally avoided. And
do you reckon
when Perez was confirmed out, I don't think they took enough time or even... I don't know, man. I just think Yuki deserved it more than Liam.
He did, right? He even deserved it more than Danny Rick. When we all wanted Danny Rick there. But I reckon they might need big staff changes, probably. I reckon Helmut Marko has no idea what he's doing. Even though he helped bring Max Verstappen to the world, but still, the old man doesn't know what he's doing anymore at this point.
Question. Do you think that Max cares about all this?
Yes and no. Like, he's matured a lot now. He's not necessarily as selfish as he was early on. He has... I guess he would feel for, like, Lawson, for example. And he would feel for Lawson. Because the amount of pressure all those second Red Bull drivers get, they have to go through, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, no, I agree on that. I personally don't think he really cares about the Constructors' Championships. The Drivers' ones he's more worried about.
Do you know what? He probably knows that he can... while the team's like that, he cannot win the Constructors. Yeah. When the team's not working as a team and supporting both their drivers, like all they have to do is maybe change the car setup to Liam's
liking
style. But also another thing too. The reason I don't want Lawson to just leave Formula One is because Japan's coming up, and he has been pretty strong at Japan when he's raced there.
This is the topsy-turvy issue that Red Bull are in. Is they've given the all clear for Liam to progress for the first couple of rounds, but it's been so bad that progression may just end when one of the best tracks he drove at last year is next.
Yeah, and it's a track he has been at in a Formula 1 car.
Yeah.
Whereas the first two hasn't. But you say that, right? You say that, Lawson, we say he's a rookie, first time in Australia and China. But Isaac, right? First time in China, did really well, and he finished ahead of Lawson. So you got to play that card as well. So that's what I mean. It could be more the car as well as a combination between the two. Because Lawson has been quite honestly blunt about how his thoughts are going. How he's just saying it straight up not good enough from him. And he just needs to work it out. So we've got huge respect to Lawson for actually, having the courage to own up to that.
I'm pretty sure at Bahrain he was totally fine. So maybe, remember that rumour that they said that at Bahrain test they didn't bring the 25 car, they brought the 24 car?
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that's happened.
I'm just going to have a look at testing real quick.
Because it kind of looks like that happened, because it wasn't top of the table or anything, but it wasn't last.
No, it was definitely not last.
No, it's just, it's all a bit strange to me. Look, only the only people that know what's going on are working at Red Bull right now, and if they don't fix it, then no one else can, and that unfortunately includes Liam Lawson.
Yeah, and I personally, no matter what happens, I just don't want Lawson's career to end just like that. Video is playing on my computer. There we go. A video started playing, I started freaking out. I just don't want Lawson's career to end the way, just like this. He has potential, and I want to see it. But let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Yes, let's move on.
I would love to. It's a big topic, and I would love to hear your thoughts. There's not much else to talk about, to be honest, unless something you can think of.
Well, yeah, for everyone, it's pretty much finished. So the next race, in 2 weeks is in Japan. I feel like there's going to be another McLaren domination.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Lewis also goes quite well at Suzuka. Let's just see if the race would just be more interesting, because it was a bit of a snooze fest, especially when F1 has to do tyre saving. When the tyre save, it sucks. Go on.
Well, speaking of that, Norris won 23 and 24, or Verstappen won 24. Because I remember
Suzuka.
Piastri. Yeah, Suzuka a couple of years ago. Because I remember Piastri.
Verstappen's won all of them.
Okay. Well, there was, because Piastri was, I think it was Suzuka around 23 or 24, where I said he struggled with tyre wear. He struggled compared to Lando. Now, this time, as we head into Suzuka, and after we saw in China, which was a higher tyre deg, I reckon Piastri could nail this one.
Yeah. Oh, he could win every race. To be honest, it's
his year.
It's him or Norris. So, they got the car for it. You just got to worry about if some other team can pull a miracle out, pull the rabbit out of the hat, and then go from there. Obviously, Max doesn't have the car, but I would never bet against him to be up there.
Do you know what's crazy?
So,
realistically, for a championship fight, the last time we saw a team battle was 9 years ago with Rosberg and Hamilton. That's the last time we saw an inter-team championship battle. You say Ricciardo and Verstappen had, some moments, but they weren't in it for the championship. It was Lewis at that point. This time, it's two McLarens that are going to win the title. It's going to be one or the other. No other car will win the title this year.
I guess Bottas never really had a chance.
No, but he's always been
bridesmaid.
Yeah.
I guess Lewis was never really challenged in his championships besides Nico. Anyway, let's move on. I want to just quickly, because obviously this was just a quick F1 pod, but I do want to quickly chat about IndyCar. We saw Alex Palou win again. He's won the first 2 races now. Kind of sick of him winning, if I'm being honest.
You should be happy. It's your name.
Yeah, I don't like him. There's one driver I support, and he got absolutely destroyed this weekend. Scott McLaughlin, our favourite, had a really rough qualifying session. Qualified, I think, 27th. And then
he had a spin as well, didn't he?
Yeah, during that qualifying. That's why he didn't make it.
Makes sense.
And then got taken out before the race started. Now, you heard me correctly there. Before the race started. It was the second to last corner.
He's had a fair share of that, has he?
The drivers are meant to be side by side to start the race as a rolling start, as per normal. And Scott had no one next to him, And then in came Devlin Di Francesco, who kind of wiped him out. Scott, look, I would say Scott didn't give him a lot of room, but he gave him enough. Like, he wasn't on the apex, he wasn't on the inside line at all, he was still on the outside. Devlin just came in like a freight train, and took him out. So the reason why we're bringing this up purely is based off the altercation that they both had after the race. It's the first time I've ever seen Scott McLaughlin angry, and the second time I've ever heard him swear after the accidental TV incident in 2014, 13?
2014, yep.
The old give it some jandal. He was genuinely like swearing and pissed off, called him a lot of words. And Devlin
really animated.
Devlin didn't hold back either. He called him a few other words. It's very interesting. And I don't think you can really blame Scott in this situation. He was on the outside, he was in front. And then Devlin just blames him. And he actually also got a drive-through penalty as well, Devlin. So
yeah, because Scotty was complaining, like, he was saying, that's why you got to drive through, because you can't drive.
Yeah. Anyway.
Also, Scotty, from the looks of it here, according to the website, he's got 5 points for not starting the race. So, I guess that's participation points right there.
No, he did start.
Well, he didn't finish, but he still got 5 points.
No, he did finish. He had a issue with the car, and then he was 6 laps down. But he did cross. He did cross the finish line just 6 laps back.
Yeah, we still got 5 points. We'll take that.
Yeah, well, he's a championship favourite, but that did sting quite a bit. So that's pretty much the end. We didn't have that much to say. Just wanted to mainly talk about Liam Lawson.
Yeah, well, that's the hot topic, and that is going to be the title of this pod, probably.
Definitely.
But seriously.
In seriously?
Let us know it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's never serious with me. But for the sake of this podcast, let us know in the comments your thoughts on, first off, the race weekend, next weekend's Japanese Grand Prix, not this weekend, the weekend after that. And also your opinion on the whole Red Bull drama. The fact that we're already saying it is just nuts. But hey, that's Formula One. That's Red Bull racing. Cadillac is already learning how to not be a team. Well before they even joined Formula One. So, and then again, McLaren as well. You know, they're laughing in the background as this unfolds. They're just laughing.
That's what I was saying before. Like, Red Bull's had so much success, nothing's gone wrong, and then all of a sudden it's all gone wrong. And not that they deserve it; they don't deserve this. But you know,
But they have shot themselves in their own foot.
You've put yourself in this situation. That's all I've said.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's just stupid. Utter stupidness and unprofessional.
Who will be in that Red Bull? We have no idea. Could it be still Liam? Yeah. One more chance? Or will it be Yuki frothing?
What do you reckon?
Frothing in the chance. Look.
First off, what do you reckon? And what are you hoping? Because they could be two different things.
I'm torn. I want to see Liam at a track he's driven at in a Red Bull. But I also would love to see the reception Yuki gets being in a Red Bull in Japan. If they could just swap for this round only, it'd be pretty cool. But then what's after that? What's the race after that?
Do you know? I think Miami?
Imola, I think it is.
Imola?
Oh, no, it's Bahrain. No, it's Bahrain.
Oh, Bahrain. There you go. Well, do you know what would be really, really, really sick?
What's that?
Is if Yuki Tsunoda is in that Red Bull with the white livery that they ran back in 20.
No, they can't use that anymore because that's practically the RB livery.
Well, swap them.
Yeah, just swap them.
They've swapped the cars, you might as well swap the...
Yeah, literally.
They're known for swapping. What are you talking about?
Do you imagine if they put Max in an RB and just test it out?
Just for shits and gigs?
Yeah, just see what happens.
There you go. So yeah, do you reckon... You didn't really answer what you reckon.
Answer.
You said you hope.
Yeah, I did hope for both. Look, I am torn. I am very torn, but I think they'll give him... Look, if they gave Perez half a season to prove himself last year, they can give Liam Lawson another race. I think he'll have maybe Bahrain and then Saudi Arabia call it a day if it's nothing improving.
Like a 5-race deal instead of 3.
Or
2.
Practically 2, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah. Okay, I hope, for the sake of Japan, Yuki Tsunoda in that Red Bull.
It'd be pretty cool
with Lawson in the racing bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just swap them. That's all you have to do.
Yeah,
just swap them. Realistically, I don't think anything is going to change, but they're going to have an extremely close eye on this. This race will be a make or break for Liam, and it will determine his future in the team. That's my prediction.
Yep.
But let us know in the comments your predictions, as I said before. But, Alex, is there any final comments you would like to say before we wrap things up here?
Nah, just watch this space. Let's just see what happens, and we will break news when it comes out. And maybe we'll probably do another pod about it, to be honest, because it's big.
Exactly, yeah. So be sure to subscribe to us. Follow us on our social media. Every single social media that we're on is in the description below, so just go find whatever you want there. Hey, go on all of them. That'll be handy. We've also got SLIPSTREAM Motorsport down there as well, so check that out. But thanks, Alex, for joining me once again, and we'll see you next time for another episode of the LTM Show. Bye for now.
Ciao. That was a quote for Ollie Behrman. Anyway, bye.